every morning or magical midnight, wherever, whenever you may be, across the dimensions or around the vibrations. I'm Tilly Treadwell, and oh, have I got a show for you. Won't you join us on The Weird Walk Home? Hello, everyone. Welcome or welcome back. I'm Tilly Treadwell, and today I have with me Mr. Chris Harmon. Chris, how are you tonight?
Fantastic. Couldn't be happier.
Excellent. I was having a lovely day, and it's even better now that you're with me to talk about MUFON and your experiences as a psychic teacher, investigator, and experiencer. Could you please tell us a little bit about your experience with MUFON before we dive into the details?
Yes, my experiences with MUFON began about 5 years ago. I joined up with them. After having experiences myself, I decided I want to take my research further. I heard about MUFON. I passed their examination after months of studying relentlessly. I passed their examination. I became a field investigator. After about a year, I joined the ERT division, Encounters Resource Team, where I work with people who have been abducted or have had contact experience. I work with them and help them overcome their fears. I also work as a psychic medium, but I use that tool along with my UFO cases to help people pinpoint what they saw, what it looked like, and even help abduction victims calm and overcome their fears.
I love that. As we discussed in our last show, you and I have a lot in common with this type of care and service. So I really enjoy that about you. And I know that we've also both had lots of paranormal and psychic experiences. Do you have a few favorite experiences that you would like to share tonight?
Yes, actually, I do. I did one of the experiences I had as a psychic was the case I did a few months back. I helped locate a missing child. Using my tools and techniques, I was able to pinpoint exactly where the missing child was. I was able to give out license plate numbers, house numbers. I saw where she was being held captive at. And I was also able to use my healing abilities as a psychic to heal any pain or any discomfort she may have while being under the abductee's uh, presence. And then using my psychic skills, I was able to bring this child back home to her loved ones by
Okay.
giving the officers and different people the tools and the information, I should say, they needed to go and pinpoint and get that child.
That is incredible, Chris. So, of course, we're not going to give out her name or anything like
Right.
that, but all of this is on official record. Is that correct?
Um, I can't say either way. I'm not allowed to give out information on that area.
Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. I think that that might say enough, to be honest. But what else have you experienced with psychic phenomena or non-human people, etc.?
I've experienced the ability, my spirit guides that I am in contact with, and also my ET friends that I'm also in contact with. They do aid me in my psychic work by providing me information and the ability to just know what to put down on paper or to say. If I have a question, I can just speak it or just ask it telepathically in my mind, and then I'm not for sure how this happens, but I get a download of information from
Hmm.
the spirit guides and ET friends that they give me the information for me to lay it out to the person who needs the help. It's like I just know it just pops in.
Wow. That's funny that you explain it this way because typically that is exactly how I experience downloads as well. So for me, it's a matter of clearing my mind after asking a question. And if I'm meant to have that information, it'll come to me usually pretty quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly how it is.
is. Yeah, when I do work like that, I've discovered that it seems as though time doesn't really exist. It seems like it's more of a physical construct than anything else, because my own spirit companions have given me information from any point in time. It doesn't matter. And they say that it's all accessible to them no matter what. Do you agree with that, or do you have a different experience of time relaying? Or
No, I do 100% agree. From what I've
yeah,
been told from my ET friends and various uh, people I speak to, that there is no time. Time
yeah,
is what we as humans created. There's only what is known as the now, and
yes,
that's what. And that's, so if you go, let's say, to gather information, you're gathering it from pretty much all one source. It just comes. There is the time is what we make it, but it's all one big, as they say, togetherness.
I agree. I completely agree with you, to be honest. So you were mentioning your ET contacts. Are you able to explain who they are, where they are, when they are? Any details?
Yes, I met them like I'm assuming when I was a child, but I didn't have any knowledge of who they were or even what they were. I just knew at times that I knew there was something there. But there again, as a child, I was too afraid to turn around and look.
Mm,
And not that they were there every day, but I knew at times something was there, and I was afraid to look. To me, it felt like an intruder, like somebody that shouldn't be there. And so I never turned around to look. But once I got older, there was one night in particular that I just happened to turn around, and there it was. And then I began to realize that they were not harmful, that the person actually had a smile on its face. And what was puzzling was I spent most of the several years after getting out of high school trying to have a career path, but I could not have a career path. The only thing I could do was somehow have the abilities to help others, be in the right place at the right time to help someone who's choking or help someone who is getting ready to have an accident, or I was able to stop an accident before it even happened. I didn't know how this was happening. At the same on the same level, I was also aggravated because I felt like I could do something more important with my life than just sitting around helping other people every day.
mm,
It wasn't until I finally realized that the ETs and spirit guides were trying to get me to understand that my mission or job was to help other people.
yeah.
And once I came to that, because it got to the point where I just had a feeling that's what I was supposed to do, it became so strong. And I made a promise to them. I said, I looked up in the sky one afternoon. I said, I'll make a deal with you. I said, if you let me through, I said, I promise you, I said, I will never stop helping other people, and I'll always put people first. As soon as I made that statement, within just a matter of months, I was doing shows on television, Amazon Prime. I was doing interviews, and things were just clicking. And then during I learned about MUFON, and when I heard that name and found out what it was, I thought, okay, I have to join that. I have to get in that aspect, that area of work. I knew I had a calling for that as well.
Hmm. That's interesting, because as well, my story has a lot of similarities. Um, I had landed what I considered my dream job, and this was right before I started this channel with my good friend Tim Swartz. So I landed that job, and mind you, outside of this work that I do, I'm basically just a stay-at-home wife, and I live a very simple, easy, sweet life. I got the job working with this person and this media company almost out of the blue, and I thought that I was going to be with this company and this person for a long time as business partners. And unfortunately, this person had a lot of stuff going on mentally and emotionally, and I discovered that there was a lot of deceit, and nothing was as it seemed. I discovered this within the first month of working with this person more closely. So it came down to me having to quit. But by that point, I was emotionally devastated and creatively devastated, because I had put a lot of time and effort and energy into lots of different projects that we were doing together. So I was upset, And it really just fueled me instead to take all of my talents and all of my care to create a brand new platform and a brand new mission. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time because Tim Swartz helped me create this channel. He helped me create just about everything to do with it initially. And without that rock bottom, like what you were describing, it never would have happened for me. But now I'm reaching far more people than I would have otherwise. And now I have many beautiful things in the future, just thanks to a redirect, as I like to say, from the universe.
That's a good way to put it, because
Yeah.
I've looked back at my life, and I look back at everything that I didn't have that I wanted, but everything that I get instead of things I didn't ask for, but I found easy better than what I was searching for. It's like I was being directed to a better life I didn't even know existed.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. That's what happened to me too. And it's just interesting to hear you talk about these things because I think that synchronicity is a big part of watching perhaps a blessed life journey unfold. And it's just so lovely for me to hear that from other people too.
Great. And what would you like for me to discuss next?
Hmm?
What would you like for me to discuss next?
Well, do you have any stories, any psychic service stories that you can tell in full about a time that you really helped someone with
Oh
your
yes,
gift?
very much, very much so. I did recently. I just got done helping a person. I won't say who she was, but she was going through a lot emotionally, and she needed help and service because she was going through a rough time with her family, and she reached out to me, asking me if I could be of assistance, and I made a promise to her that I would heal her family and bring
Mm,
love back to the family, pretty much put everybody back together.
mm.
Without going into details, I did some work for her, and I'm still currently doing the work. But I can already tell just by the work I've done, this will be beneficial because I can tell when I do my work how the outcome's going to be because I get that feeling of positivity that's heading in their direction. Another
Interesting.
case, another help case I did recently was somebody who was very ill, and I did what is known as remote healing. And what I do in remote healing is I go in, I put words of positivity. I pretty much have a mindset. I'm going to heal that person's ailment. It could be anything from cancer to leukemia, arthritis pains, aches and pains. It could be a broken heart even. And I'll
Oh,
put words of positivity, and I do the process that I won't give out the details on that. But when I do my process and do my work, it may take 2 or 3 sessions, but I am always pretty much guaranteed the outcome is going to be positive. In fact, I just helped a woman recently who, a very famous person, I won't give out names, but I was
mm,
able to, she'd been sick for about a few weeks before I got the call to use healing to help her. And she said, and I quote this, that the healing was instantaneous, that it was like she overcame, like within days, she was back to her normal self. And I just did another one last week for a person. Trying to think what her name was. It don't matter, but I was able to heal. Oh, her son. Her son was very ill, and he had strep throat, ear infection. He was
mm.
vomiting. It was terrible. And his mother couldn't stand it. She said, "I hate to bother you, she said, but could you please heal my son?" I promised her I would. And within just one session. I wasn't even halfway through the session. She said she could see her son just sit up. It was like nothing was wrong. He went back to his old self instantly. And he had antibiotics, but he didn't even take them because he was already back in school in full health.
Oh, interesting. How did you learn to heal people?
Well, I had the ability to know things when I was born. As I grew up, I began to notice that I had the answers to people's problems or questions before they would even ask for. I just knew something was going to happen. I get a feeling like somebody is going to come or somebody isn't coming, or I get a feeling like this is the wrong thing to do. I would look at somebody and I would know things
That,
about them, know things
okay.
I know things I shouldn't even know about a person. But it led me to remote healing because as I got older, I began doing research on psychics, and
Okay.
I was doing the research and I began to realize that I think that may be what I have. And when I got joined MUFON, I began to study what is known as remote viewing. And I took a course on that and got certified as remote viewer, healer, and remote influencing. And when I got certified on those levels, I began to work with people who needed help on things. And one of the cases I did, I'll never forget this. One of the first cases I did for officially did, they had two remote viewers on the case. And surprisingly, both of our answers, me and her, were identical, spot on. And that's when they realized, okay, this guy is a real deal. There's no way he could be faking this or cheating. There's no way this is too accurate. And from that point on, I started getting phone calls, offers. Could you do this? Could you do that? You bet. And I've never let a person down. All my work is accurate 100%. Um, and it got to the point where I decided to start teaching to the public and help other people learn this tool because this tool can be very beneficial. I mean, if you do these tools correctly and use them in a positive way, you can really change a person's life for the better.
So, so you're saying that your healing and your remote viewing um, capabilities are 100% effective 100% of the time? Is that, am I hearing you properly?
Yes, a good 100% of the time, at least 95% of the time.
Okay, okay.
Usually,
I
usually if it's not effective, I can do a second round of it if needed, and that'll usually take care of it.
That's interesting. I've just never heard anyone say that their ways of healing and viewing were 100% effective 100% of the time. So I was
Well,
curious about how.
I never tell a person that I guarantee you you're going to be healed. I always tell a person, I guarantee you I will try my best, and I will promise you I will give it everything I have.
Right, right. And that makes sense to me. It's just interesting because you're telling me that it's 100% effective or 95% effective. I've just never heard anyone say that. So I want to learn how to be that effective.
You have to take my course. I guarantee you you will learn because the way I teach in my class, I teach in a fun, effective way. I make everything exciting. I tell jokes. I get people to interact. Sometimes I give out prizes, just things to keep people interested. Because if you make it a fun environment and make it
Right.
laughing and enjoyable, they're going to learn better. Because the more positiveness you put into your work, the more happy you are, the more effective your work is.
Mm, that I do agree with, my friend. So, what exactly about your methodology makes it so highly effective?
I think the main reason it is so effective is because of all of the positivity that is
Okay,
put into it.
interesting, interesting. I'm
A,
asking, go ahead.
a person who has a very positive mindset and high vibration level is going to put out good energy, and that energy that you put out is reflected on your work.
Okay, okay. Well, then maybe I need to do some adjusting because for myself, I've learned that no matter how positive I have been for someone, there have been times where something has failed and I've gotten back the information that that person wasn't ready yet or that they didn't actually want it subconsciously. And so for me, I've experienced that um, the person's true deep down desires and vibration have an effect on it. That's why for me, I've never been able to say that my work is 95% or 100% effective, anything like that. I've only ever been able to say, whether on camera with someone or to a client's face, that I'll try my best, but that every situation is 100% unique. And so I can't guarantee literally anything. So I don't know, maybe I do need to come sit in on some of your classes. That sounds wonderful.
Right. Because I always tell my clients, I guarantee them I'll give it everything I have. And
Okay.
I
Yeah.
always tell them that my work is pretty much guaranteed because I let them know that I've had such success in the past that I will give you everything I have. I never tell them that I guarantee you will be healed. I guarantee you will get the best service possible. And most of the time they will. In fact, I just got a letter in the mail or in a message the other day for somebody thanking me because because the woman was going to sell her house. There was so much activity going on, she was going to literally like move out of her house if they didn't get the help they needed. I guaranteed them I would give it everything I had, and I got a letter back saying that they said I don't know what you did or how you did it, but everything is peaceful, calm, and my
Wow.
mother can live in a quiet environment. He said, I want to thank you so much. He goes, I don't know what you did. He said, but it sure does work.
Okay. So in a case like that, what do you do?
Let's say you had paranormal activity in your house that you couldn't get rid of. I would sit down and go through. First, I would do a series of healings, which means I'm going to more or less cleanse the house. I'm going to put positivity into the house. And then
Okay.
what I would do for my second round, maybe the next day, is I would envision a bright light. And that bright light is a portal or a gateway to heaven. Now I'm inviting all of these spirits to go up to heaven and be with their family or their loved ones that have passed on. And I can envision those family members standing there at the gate, calling their children or their sons or loved ones to come be with us. And then I put words of positivity out to the spirit, letting him know that you're needed over there. You got family over there. You're not needed here anymore. Your job here is done. And I can envision them moving on to heaven or moving into the light. And through my work with remote viewing, psychic work, healing, I'm able to help those spirits cross over using my work. And all my work is done on paper or up here in my head, depending on where I'm at. If I'm out in public, I could do it quietly in my head.
Hmm.
If I'm doing it at home, I could do it on paper and write it all out. And it may take 2 or 3 sessions to heal or help someone,
Hmm.
but a good 95% of the time it is accurate.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm seeing some similarities in how we would handle a haunting, and then there are some firm differences. So it's interesting to hear your side of the coin because for me, when I would counsel people, whether they were human, non-human, or they seemed to be spirits of departed loved ones, I always worked from the inside out in terms of offering healing and counseling via communication, working through issues, not um, providing the white light and the gate to heaven and whatnot. So for me, I just find that really interesting that it works for you, but it that never worked for me. Why do you think that might be?
Well, I think every case or every person I work with is different, and of course, every environment is different. So there might be some environments where that wouldn't work, but I go with what I feel because when I if I'm getting ready to start a healing for somebody or start a psychic viewing for somebody, I usually sit back and just kind of relax and see what my spirit guides and ET friends are telling me, and then I'll kind of go from there because they will lead me in what direction to go with. Should I cross people over? Should I just
Oh,
use the house? Should I do that? I just go with what I feel because if I go with what I feel, I'm more accurate than if I just try to come up with something in my brain.
yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
Because
So
I will say my spirit guides and ET friends might be a little bit smarter than just I am in general.
that is true, isn't it? Same here, same here. So how many, if you had to put a number on it, how many human spirit hauntings do you think that you have encountered over the years?
Oh shoot. Going back to when I going back to even before I even got started on television and all that, I would say, well, 20, maybe as high as 40 if I had to sit down and write them all out and try to recall.
Wow.
I'll never forget I did one paranormal show for a television, that one of our episodes, and I was doing a remote viewing session. And during the session, a spirit of the house, Native American spirit, got into me, and he gave me his handwriting. So I had his handwriting, which was crystal clear handwriting, for like maybe 10-15 minutes before it left.
I've never heard a story like that. That's fascinating.
You
What
could
did
tell,
what did the handwriting look like exactly?
just a normal like cursive writing, but it was spotless. There was no flaws in it. And
Wow.
and if you compare that to my handwriting is like crap, to be honest. Even I can't
Chicken
read
scratch.
it. Even I can't read it sometimes.
Oh no. I feel you on that. I need to improve my handwriting too. Oh my goodness. So for myself, I've only ever encountered two or three hauntings of what seemed to be a human spirit. Do you think that any of these apparent human spirits could actually be like a tulpa or something?
It is possible. I've never actually encountered a toba, but who's to say? I mean, I know sometimes spirits and even other things can hide their true self, hide their true identity, to
Mhm.
try to get us to leave them alone or ignore them. But then usually I pretty much can sense right away how this night's going to go just by walking into the door. Because a lot of times, what we do first in our shows is we go in and we just look around at the house and see what we get feelings for. And then the guys will go in and do their work, and females in our group. And then at some point in the evening, I'll go in, sit down at a table somewhere or a sofa, and do my psychic writings. And during the writings, I can usually pick up on names, the reason they're there, what their purpose is. And even during that, I can also speak to them because, okay, for instance, I did a show last August. It has not aired yet, but there was a male spirit in the house that was still in love with his wife, and he
Oh,
didn't realize he didn't realize he had passed on. He was aggravated because I could communicate with him, nobody else could, and he thought they were ignoring him. He thought they weren't no longer paying attention to him. I said
oh.
no. I said no. You passed on. You're not living anymore. You need to cross over. He says, no. He says, I am alive because you can see me. I said, no, I can see you because I have the ability to. They can't. And he
Mhm.
refused to believe me until finally I was able to get through to him. And he kind of broke down. And he was like, but I'm still in love with her. I don't want to leave my family. I said, no. I said, you got other family up there waiting for you.
Hmm.
Finally, I was able to get him to understand what I was saying, and I was able to get him to move on to the light, and brought peace back to the house.
So what types of activity was he causing there in the house that was such an issue?
Uh, Nothing violent. He was just walking around trying to communicate with his loved ones by trying to get their attention. And to them, it was a haunting. They didn't realize it was him because he was making knocking noises, banging noises, trying to get them to pay attention to him because he
Okay.
could see them. Of course, they can't see him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they called us in to help get rid of these haunting that was going on. And then when I did my work, I realized it's not a haunting. It's their loved one, her husband, more or less, her ex-husband.
Her ex-husband? Oh, so they ex because he had passed away?
Right, right.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. I I never refer to someone as an ex unless they broke up. I just say that, the husband who has passed on. So I was a little confused there for a second.
That's okay. I'm not smart when it comes to husbands, wives, and all that stuff. So
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So I wonder if there are indeed loved ones always hanging around who have passed on. Did you ever bump into that when you were working cases like what you just described? People who were very quiet and just there, that they weren't making noise and trying to communicate, they were just to observe?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've done several cases where I was able to pick up on it. Like I tell a woman, I would say that, well, we were here last night and investigated your
Sorry.
question.
Thank you.
Like
Please do continue.
we did a case once, and I contacted or I bumped into a person's their grandfather. I've also done um mothers, grandmothers. And a lot of it was real peaceful. They were just there watching over their loved ones. Um, in fact, there was one case where there was two spirits in the house. An older gentleman who had been there for years and years, not hiding in the basement, but the basement used to be his sanctuary. That was where he would smoke his pipes and just do his own business. And then there was a peaceful spirit upstairs who was just watching over the family. But the gentleman in the basement didn't like anybody coming down and doing laundry or doing anything because they were invading his private like man cave, more or less, where he would smoke and drink
Yeah.
and all that. He didn't like children going down there messing with his stuff. And
Oh, that makes sense.
so we had to let him know that they're not here to hurt you. They're just kids are just playing games and stuff. I said they won't bother you every day. And I
Mm,
don't think he still understood because he still wanted everybody out of his area, but
yeah.
not much we could do with him because he wasn't hurt nothing, just didn't like people. He was telling me they're bothering me. They're running around the basement, they're bothering
Yeah,
me.
yeah. That's interesting. Because I think that time passes very differently depending upon the vibration that you're on, especially once you leave this densest physical body and you go up higher. So it might only seem to him like every few minutes they're coming down there to bother him, when for us here it's hours or days, you know?
Right, right. I think that's what he was experiencing because he was aggravated and he didn't, and they're not his kids, they're not his family.
Mhm.
When you cross over, time does go by quicker than what it does in your actual life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I just imagine him sitting down there watching the game, and then all of a sudden the kids come running down the stairs, and he's like, dang it, every 5 minutes, these kids.
Right.
Oh,
There
wow.
was
Yeah.
there was an interesting case I did once. Before we even went to the location, I did a psychic remote viewing session, and I kept drawing and envisioning a box with a doll or somebody, either a person or a doll,
Mhm.
on the floor on the floor of the location. Now, proof that my psychic abilities are real. When we got to the location, the guys went in to let the homeowners know that we're here. The rest of us, including myself, were outside setting up. When we got when they came back outside, now mind you, I had the drawings and the paperwork that I had done, that psychic work I had done, where I drew the doll on the floor or the person on the floor, whoever it was. When they when the guys came outside, they said, "You're not going to believe this." We said, "What?" He said, "She has her husband's cremation remains on the floor in a box."
Oh, oh my. So what is your opinion on keeping the ashes after cremation?
Well, I know in some cases, and I have encountered this myself, where the spirits wanted to be crossed over, but having the ashes around made them feel like they were forced to stay there. And in
Mm,
some cases, people will keep the cremations or their ashes because it makes them feel comfortable to have their part of their loved ones still with them.
mm,
But I have also, reminded people that I work with, witnesses and people that I help that once you cross over, once you pass on and cross over, there's a beautiful world out there that you get to live out and
Yeah.
experience. And that by letting your loved ones go, you're putting them in a better environment. But you will be with them sooner than you realize because to them it's only just seconds. And I always, in fact, there was one case where I took a lady and sat her down on the sofa, explained to her how the afterlife works and everything, and she didn't know all about that, and she was so grateful I had this conversation with her. She goes, "You spoke to me in a more calm and polite way than anybody else ever has." And said, "You really helped me understand things," and she was able to live a better life from that point on because of the help and encouragement I gave her.
That makes sense to me. Yeah, I don't think that I would ever be able to have someone's ashes, to be honest. It just seems a little too physical for me, especially because we're not really retaining that person's heart, their memories, their soul essence. It's just the burned up remains of the body, in an objective and literal way. And to me, that just seems really empty and, oh, how do I say it? Kind of macabre. It's just not quite for me, and I've never quite understood it, since I see it just so coldly and so literally. But then I try to think about my cat Evie. If she were to pass away tomorrow, I admit I would be devastated, and I'm not sure exactly what I would do outside of keeping, say, her collar and whatnot. And I don't know. I would just hope that she'd be somewhere better, or that she'd still be around with me, keeping me company until I get to join her too. But to keep the body, I don't know.
I had a cat for about 18 years. It was a white Himalaya with blue eyes, and me and him were like this. And
Wow.
he was my best friend. I even would ask him questions, and if the answer was yes, he would rub his face up against mine. If it was no, he would just kind of turn around. He and we were like this together. I mean, every day. And he even woke me up for work in the mornings. And he knew the things. He knew we were just like perfect. And then of course he got old and passed away. But there was one incident here. Oh, maybe I think it was last year. I was watching television. I heard this purring sound, and I
Oh.
immediately I realized it was my cat coming back to say hello. And I spoke to it was a psychic lady who speaks to animals. I spoke to her just to see what she thought about my cat, and my cat told her that he was doing his job by watching over and protecting me.
Oh, excellent. I'm really happy to hear that. I hope that my kitty will visit me when she goes, but I really don't think that I will be getting another cat after Evie passes away, because just the emotional trauma is too much. You know what I mean? Like when they do pass on. So my kitty is going to be my one and only, I'm pretty sure.
I have a friend that she has a pet ferrets, if you know what ferrets are.
I
And
do, yeah.
I've seen her videos. They are very beautiful. And I've thought about getting one myself, but I might just be friends with her ferrets because all the work I do, I wouldn't be able to take care of a ferret. But they are
Uh-huh.
cute the way they run around and stuff. But as far as getting another cat, who's to say I won't someday? You never know. It'd be hard to replace the one I lost, though. That's the hardest thing right there is replacing the animals that you were close to.
Oh, absolutely. And that's kind of the way that I see it, is that I couldn't begin to replace Evie and the routine that we have day to day and that connection that I have with her. So for me, it feels almost like cheating to think of getting another cat.
Right. I
Yeah,
know what you mean exactly.
yeah, absolutely. So, have you ever read tarot cards or oracle cards or anything of that nature?
Now, I don't get into tarot cards or anything like
Okay.
that. You with my line of work, basically because of the spirit guides and the ET friends I work with, I just usually just trust them to rely the information because if I have a question with helping somebody or trying to figure out what's going on, that they're usually spot on with giving me the information.
Oh, okay, okay. Some people use tarot cards and or oracle cards as a bridge to make the psychic work easier. And I've done that too in the past. So I was just curious if you happened to do that.
I've thought about getting cards over the years, or even using dowsing rods, but I'm pretty content with it. The way I do my work um doesn't seem to fail, so no need to change things. If I was supposed to use tarot cards or dowsing rods, I would think they would give me a reason to go get some. They would tell me, hey, you need to do this or do that. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're pretty much guide me in every direction I take.
yeah, okay, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense to me.
I I can't say that they're with me all the time, but they seem to always show up when I need them. So.
Hey, there you go. So you had offered me a bit of a reading before. Do you pick up on any energy or anything of that nature when you're, say, talking to me or messaging with me? Or how does that work for you when you're communicating more casually with someone?
Um, Usually all I have to do is just start talking with somebody, and then I could just sit there for a few seconds and just kind of stare at their face for even just maybe 5 seconds, and automatically I just start picking up on things. Like looking at you right here, I get a sense, and that what I'm being told is that you have a straight path as far as a career. The career path you're on right now, doing this, is going to go far, is what I'm hearing. I keep hearing it like a far, like keep. They're wanting you to keep going, is what they're saying. Don't stop.
Oh, well, thank you. That's really good to hear. Sometimes it is a little overwhelming for me being so new to this, but I think you might be right because it's picking up in a lot of ways already that I didn't expect. I've got several big deals that are being offered to me already, and I've just finalized an agreement with an artist to launch the e-shop in the spring.
And I
Just
was just
today.
and I just heard some. They told me for you not to dwell on the past because you're not headed that way.
That's completely fair. Sometimes I get caught up in thinking about the past, what I could do better, and how to stop myself from making certain types of mistakes. And sometimes I do tend to dwell on that maybe a little bit too long. They're absolutely right about that.
Well, sometimes it's easier to dwell on the past because it was so strong, stronger than what your future may be. But you got to keep moving forward and build a stronger future.
I do agree. Absolutely. 100% agree with that. That's a
Yeah,
good reading already, I think. It seems accurate from what I can tell.
I mean, if I would have had all the things I wanted in the past, like let's say relationships or
Oh
jobs, if
yeah,
I would have had everything I wanted back then, I wouldn't have been led to a better future, which I have in front of me now.
I agree. I'm right there with you on that for sure. So, have you ever noticed that during certain times of the year or around certain holidays, activity seems to pick up?
Um, yeah, I mean, as far as paranormal activity, it does seem to pick up more around the months of say September up to around November, December, and only because of the fact that the days are getting shorter and nighttime seems to come sooner, and that seems to open the veil thinner for spirits to pass through and cross over. And as far as ET, as far as ET sightings, those are pretty much year round, although we do get more sightings around the months of May, June, July, and August because people are outside more looking up in the sky.
Oh, that aligns precisely with my own experiences and understanding too. And although you and I come at these topics sometimes with very different experiences and viewpoints and beliefs, I find it fascinating that certain things just line up perfectly.
Right. And
Yes.
it goes back to the old saying that people still use, that some things are just meant to happen a certain way. That every
Hmm.
person is born with a certain life path, a certain way that they're headed. Sometimes they get upset or get discouraged because the way they're supposed to go isn't necessarily the way they want to go. But in the long run, will realize that the way they are directed was better than the things they wanted to go.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, my friend, we are coming closer to the end of our time tonight, but I wanted to ask you, what are you getting into for the rest of the holiday season?
Oh shoot, I got of course a lot of people I'm working with for healings. I've got cases I'm working with. I've got as of right now, I think I may have a few more interviews. I have to check my calendar, and I'm doing so many different things daily, constantly. Even I have to stop and think. Okay, now is today this or is that tomorrow? And oh
Mm,
yeah, okay. But yeah, I keep helping people. That's the main thing I do every day is help others. And then in between all that, I investigate the UFO sightings, and then occasionally we film our paranormal shows. We have 4 episodes that have not been released yet, but they're coming. I've got
mm.
I've got 2 or 3 interviews that I've done recently that have not aired yet that are going to air.
Wow.
Um, Currently working about 3 or 4 UFO cases. I think it's 3 or 4, and just keep moving forward. I mean, my calendar gets booked and added every day. That's about all I can say, really. But I
That's
love it. I love everything I do. But if I didn't love it so much, I wouldn't be in this way of life.
brilliant, friend. I like that very much. Are you going to be going out to any holiday parties this year?
I did we had a psychic remote viewing party for my students last week. I gave away about close to $1,000 in prizes, including a trip. Um, then we got of course family gatherings tomorrow, Sunday,
Mm,
Monday, and so on and so forth. It's not never ends, but I enjoy it.
I love that. Me too. Me too. Well, my friends, thank you very much for stopping by the Weird Walk Home.
It's
I have been Tilly Treadwell, and this has been Chris Harmon. Chris, for those who would like to join you perhaps in their own life journeys and explorations of psychic abilities, where could we find you online?
Yes, I want to first give a shout out to my friend Rachel and friends and family and all my students watching, and anybody who wants to take my psychic courses. I'm actually starting again in January. You can email me at mufon.chris@yahoo.com. You can sign up there. For the public, the courses are 200, and that includes the 8-week course. Originally was 100, but I upgraded it to 200. That includes 8 weeks of training and personally one-on-one training for those that can't make it to class every week. I do one-on-one training for those who need it. And
Wow.
we have classes twice a week. The main class usually is on Wednesdays, and then a makeup class is on Thursdays, and no, makeup class is on Mondays. We do 2 classes so that way everybody has a chance to attend, because I find it's better to go live and work with somebody like I'm doing here, one-on-one, rather than
Yeah.
have somebody watch your pre-recorded video, because then they can't answer questions and interact. It's a
Mhm.
great course, and everybody learns and has a great time.
That's
Yeah.
excellent. And I
Okay.
do hope I'm going to be able to join you soon in those classes. I can't wait to learn a lot of new skills and to see you in action, because it's a lot different than having just a one-on-one, more casual chat. So I'm really looking forward to it.
It is a great time, and every student has pretty much been great remote viewers. They get certified, they get their paperwork, but all the tests they've done that I've given them, some of the students have passed with flying colors. It's amazing.
Perfect. All right, my friends. So I do believe that that is all for now. Until next time, merry morning or magical midnight.